Back to the economy where you belong." His words hit harder than his hand shoving her suitcase aside. The pilot towered above her, smirking, slicing through the murmurs. Her child's grip tightened. Cameras lifted. She didn't flinch, just whispered, "You might regret that before takeoff." Every head turned as silence cracked. The terminal went still, air thick with tension. The pilot's polished shoes clicked closer, his shadow swallowing hers. "You people think rules don't apply to you," he sneered, jabbing a finger toward the first-class gate. The child hid behind her leg, eyes wide. She adjusted her jacket, calm but unyielding. A security guard stepped in, tall, pale, hand on his radio. "Sir, everything okay here?" "She's trying to board first class with an economy ticket," the pilot barked. "That's a lie," she said evenly. "Check the manifest." The pilot laughed, waving his badge like a crown. "Oh, I don't need to check. I can see what's wrong." Gasps rippled through the waiting line. Someone whispered, "Did he just say that?" Another voice hissed, "Keep recording." The faint click of phone cameras punctured the silence. The woman's suitcase sat by her foot. Tagged and marked priority. The pilot kicked it backward with a smirk. "Priority luggage? You sure that's yours?" Her hand steadied the handle, eyes locked on his. "You're making a mistake." "Am I?" He leaned closer, breath sour with arrogance. "Then show me your golden ticket, ma'am." Her fingers slid a boarding pass from her purse. He snatched it, scanned it, and scoffed. "Looks fake." "Probably printed at home." A young flight attendant nearby shifted uneasily. "Captain, it's valid," she murmured. "Quiet," he snapped. "Don't question me in front of passengers." The woman knelt to comfort her son. "It's okay, baby. We'll fix this." The child's voice trembled. "Mommy, did we do something bad?" Her lips pressed tight. "No, we didn't." The pilot raised his arms theatrically. "Security, escort them out. We're done here." The guard hesitated, glancing at the woman's calm face. Something about her composure unsettled him. "Ma'am, maybe step aside until we sort this out?" She nodded slightly, not out of fear, but patience. Passengers whispered louder now. "She didn't do anything. He's out of line." "Man, this is going online." A phone camera zoomed in on the pilot's sneer. Her phone buzzed. "One unread message. Keep calm. I'm watching." She slipped it back into her pocket before anyone noticed. The pilot turned to the crowd. "Let this be a lesson. There's a reason first class isn't for everyone." Murmurs turned to outrage. A woman in the back shouted, "You're disgusting!" He shot her a glare. "Mind your business." The mother stood taller now, hands clasped in front of her. "You're absolutely right," she said softly. "First class isn't for everyone." He chuckled. "Glad we agree." Her eyes didn't move. "Especially those who don't deserve to fly." He froze, laughter faltering. Security looked between them uneasy. Someone whispered, "Who is she?" She smiled faintly. "You'll find out soon." The PA crackled overhead. "All passengers remain at the gate for updated boarding instructions." The pilot's grin slipped for the first time. A ripple of unease passed through the crowd as she picked up her suitcase, unshaken, unreadable. Something told everyone watching this was far from over. The boarding gate doors hissed open again, and the pilot stepped forward like he owned the air itself. "Move her to the side," he ordered. "Let real passengers through." The guard hesitated, but one sharp glare from the pilot was enough. The woman and her son were pushed near the trash bin. Her boy's voice cracked. "Mommy, everyone's staring!" She crouched, brushing his cheek. "Let them. We're not the ones ashamed here." Phones hovered higher. The clicking grew constant, a wall of digital judgment. "Ma'am," said the pilot, mockingly polite now, "since you seem confused about how airlines work, let me help you. First class is for those who've earned it." She met his smirk with silence. That silence burned louder than words. A passenger near the window whispered, "I got that on video." Another replied, "Keep it rolling, this dude's done." The woman lifted her boarding pass again. "You can read, can't you?" He ripped it from her hand and waved it toward the gate agent. "Run this again. I bet it's bogus." The agent scanned the barcode. Beep. Green light flashed. "It's valid, Captain," she said quietly. The pilot's smile thinned. Then your scanner's broken. Sir, I said it's broken. His shout made the child flinch. Someone in line muttered, "He's lost it!" The pilot turned sharply. "You got something to say?" A man in a baseball cap spoke up. "Yeah, stop talking down to her." The pilot's eyes narrowed. "Security, remove that man too." The security guard stepped forward, uncomfortable. "Captain, maybe we should de-escalate." "Do your job!" The pilot barked, face red. The crowd booed. Phones rose higher. One woman near the back said loud enough for all to hear, "You're trending already." "Captain." He froze for a second, scanning faces, noticing dozens of red recording lights aimed at him. "Delete those videos," he demanded. Laughter rippled. "You can't order the internet around," someone called out. The black mom picked up her pass again. "If you're done, I'd like to take my seat." He smirked, blocking the jet bridge. "Oh no, you'll sit when I say you can sit," the child whimpered. She looked him dead in the eye. "Then maybe nobody flies today." A murmur of disbelief swept through the gate. "What's she mean?" someone whispered. The pilot chuckled. "Big words for a passenger." Her phone buzzed again. A short vibration. She read the screen briefly, then slid it back. Her voice stayed level. "You might want to answer the next call you get." "What's that supposed to mean?" He snapped. The gate agent's phone rang. She answered, and her expression drained of color. "Captain, HQ's on the line for you." He frowned, taking the phone. "Yeah?" Static, then a voice. "Do not depart." "Repeat, stand down." The pilot blinked. "What?" The agent swallowed hard. "They said, the flight's under review." Cameras zoomed in. The crowd gasped. She simply adjusted her son's jacket, calm as ever. A passenger whispered, "She just grounded the flight, didn't she?" The terminal noise faded as she stood motionless, eyes fixed on the pilot clutching the phone. For a heartbeat, the present dissolved. Years ago, in another airport, a gate agent whispered the same line. "Ma'am, please step aside." Her father's voice echoed from that day. Calm but proud. Never let them decide your worth. The memory vanished as fast as it came. Back in the moment, the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The pilot's face reddened. "You think one phone call stops my flight?" he barked. "You don't scare me." She tilted her head. "It's not me you should be afraid of." Security shuffled awkwardly. Passengers murmured, energy shifting. Someone whispered, "This is wild." She didn't even raise her voice. Another said, "She's too calm. She knows something." The pilot's radio crackled. "Captain, HQ is requesting you step away from the aircraft door." He clenched his jaw. "Ignore that. It's a misunderstanding." The gate agent's eyes darted to the woman, then back at the pilot. "Sir, it came directly from operations control." He spun on her. "You people are losing your minds. I'm the captain." "You were," the woman said quietly. He froze. "Excuse me?" "You were the captain." "Now you're just a man shouting in front of his passengers." Gasps rippled. Someone clapped once nervously. Another joined. The sound grew, hesitant but real. The child smiled for the first time, whispering, "Mommy, they're clapping for you." She brushed his shoulder gently. "No, baby. They're clapping for truth." The pilot turned toward security. "Get her out of here before she causes more chaos." The guard didn't move. "Sir, command says to hold all action until confirmation." "What confirmation?" "Something about federal clearance." A subtle glance passed between the mother and the guard, unspoken understanding. She knew the gears were already turning. The system that had ignored her before now moved because of her. Her phone buzzed once more. A text preview flashed. "Authorization proceeding." 90 seconds. She tucked it away. "Still think this is a misunderstanding?" she asked softly. The pilot took a step back, veins visible on his neck. "You're bluffing." "Keep thinking that," she replied. In the crowd, voices overlapped. "Who is she?" "She's not just some mom. I bet she works for the FAA or something." The child looked up, eyes shining. "What's the FAA, Mommy?" She smiled faintly. "People who keep the sky safe." A man near the counter raised his phone, whispering into it. "It's going viral right now. Over 1 million views already." The pilot froze mid-step. hearing his own voice echo from a phone speaker. "You people think rules don't apply to you!" The clip looped again and again. He turned to her, face pale. "You did this?" She simply said, "No, you did." And for the first time since it began, the captain looked small against the roaring silence. The gate buzzed with overlapping voices, phones lifted like courtroom evidence. The pilot wiped sweat from his brow, muttering, "This is ridiculous." He turned toward the gate agent. "Board the rest. I'm still in command." The gate agent hesitated. "Sir, headquarters hasn't cleared departure." He barked, "I am headquarters." Laughter rippled through the passengers. The woman moved one step forward, dragging her suitcase with slow precision. "You keep saying that word," she said evenly. "Command. But you don't even understand what it means." He smirked. "Oh, and you do?" Her phone rang. She answered without breaking eye contact. "Yes, this is Dr. Harris, confirming breach of aviation conduct." The crowd fell silent. The pilot blinked. "Doctor who?" She ignored him, speaking into the phone. "Yes, he's present. Terminate clearance protocol, I'll handle the rest." Click. She hung up. The pilot forced a laugh, strained and loud. "You think calling your lawyer scares me?" She raised a brow. "That wasn't a lawyer." The gate agent's eyes widened slightly, recognition dawning. "Ma'am, you're that Dr. Harris?" "Not yet," she said softly. "Let him finish digging." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Listen, I don't know what game you're playing, but you've just delayed a federal flight." She folded her arms. "No, I've protected one." A man near the exit muttered, "She said she's Dr. Harris. Doesn't the FAA have a Harris on their safety board?" Another replied, "If that's true, that pilot's toast." The pilot heard it too, panic flickering behind his eyes. "Stop whispering! None of this matters. Everyone back to your seats." No one moved. A woman near the aisle shouted, "We're not boarding until she does." Applause followed. The pilot glared at her. "Congratulations. You've got a crowd. What now, you plan to cancel the flight?" She tilted her head slightly. "You said it, not me." He stepped forward, invading her space. "You're bluffing." Her expression didn't change. "Maybe, but your license isn't." The words hit like a slap. His breath caught. Her phone vibrated again. Notification. Upload complete. Someone gasped, holding up their phone. "She's live on national news." The pilot whipped around. "Turn that off!" The woman recording replied, "Too late. Half the country's watching this gate right now." He turned back to Dr. Harris, face pale. "You don't understand what you're doing." She smiled faintly. "I understand exactly." An overhead chime interrupted. "Attention crew, Flight 298 is temporarily suspended pending compliance inspection." Gasps filled the terminal. The pilot froze. "What inspection?" She picked up her suitcase and stepped past him. "The one you just failed," cameras flashed. Someone cheered. The security guard whispered into his radio, "She's authorized. Confirmed federal clearance." The pilot's knees seemed to weaken. "Who are you?" Her gaze stayed locked. "You'll find out before we land, if we ever do." The announcement echoed through the terminal like a verdict. Flight 298 suspended. The pilot's jaw locked, but his authority melted from his stance. He turned sharply toward the gate agent. "Who gave that order?" She swallowed hard. "Directly from the Aviation Safety Directorate, sir." He blinked, sweat trickling behind his collar. "That's impossible." The woman stepped closer. "You're right." "It was impossible until about 5 minutes ago." Her phone buzzed. One glance, one-word message, authorized. She looked up. "I've seen enough." "What does that mean?" he demanded. "It means this flight's grounded under Section 14, Conduct Clause." Passengers murmured, the phrase rolling through them like a wave. "Conduct Clause?" someone repeated. The pilot forced a laugh. "You don't have the authority to—" Her voice cut him clean. "I have authority over every commercial cockpit in this country." He froze mid-breath. Gasps erupted. The gate agent covered her mouth. The security guard whispered, "Oh my God." She pulled a small black wallet from her jacket, flipping it open. The gold badge glimmered beneath fluorescent light. "Dr. Naomi Harris, Federal Director of Aviation Safety and Licensing." You fly under my certification. The crowd erupted in disbelief. Cameras flashed, recording every word. The pilot staggered half a step back, suddenly small under her gaze. This can't be. She took another step closer, her voice steady as steel. You struck a passenger? You discriminated publicly. You violated federal safety code by inciting panic. And now, she leaned forward slightly. You're done flying, his badge beeped faintly. The light on it turned red. He looked down, horror spreading across his face. What's happening to my access? Revoked, she said simply. The crowd burst into applause. The child clapped too, face glowing. The pilot stood speechless, trembling in front of the people he'd just humiliated. The gate agent approached cautiously. Dr. Harris, should we offload him? She nodded. Escort it out, immediately. Security stepped in, hands firm but polite. The pilot resisted. You can't do this. I'm a captain! Her voice was quiet, deadly precise. You were. Now you're just another grounded man. Phones captured every second. Passengers cheered as he was led away, shouting protests no one cared to hear. She turned to the gate agent. Please secure the flight until my team completes an incident review. Yes, ma'am, the agent said, almost whispering. The child tugged her sleeve. Mommy, does this mean we're not flying? She smiled gently. We'll fly soon, baby, but the right way. In the background, the pilot's voice echoed faintly down the corridor. You'll regret this. She didn't turn. I already don't. Camera flashes intensified. Hashtags exploded online. Agrounded for good. Justice at Gate 7. The crowd parted as she walked toward the counter, calm, steady, unshaken. For the first time, the space that had humiliated her now felt like her runway, and everyone watching knew. Power had changed hands for good. The pilot's voice faded as security guided him through the corridor, his shoulders slumped, eyes darting at the cameras capturing his fall. The once commanding tone was now just noise behind the roar of clapping passengers. The woman, no, Director Harris, watched silently, her son's small hand anchored in hers. The gate agent's radio crackled. Confirm visual. The captain's credentials are voided. He's restricted from cockpit access nationwide. Passengers gasped. One man whistled low. Nationwide? That's his whole career. Harris nodded to herself, expression unreadable. Actions have altitude. His crashed on takeoff. Security handed her a clipboard. Ma'am, protocol requires a witness signature for incident termination. She scanned it quickly, signed, and handed it back. File it under crew misconduct, racial bias escalation. Headquarters will know where it belongs. The agent looked shaken but inspired. Dr. Harris, I thank you for stepping in, she replied simply. I didn't step in. I was already here. Across the gate, passengers surrounded her, thanking her, clapping, offering water. You stood up for everyone who's been treated like that, one woman said. Harris smiled faintly. I stood where I should have stood years ago. The crowd parted as a uniformed airline manager hurried in, face pale, phone glued to his ear. Ma'am, Director Harris, I'm so sorry. We didn't know it was you. You weren't supposed to, she said. Respect shouldn't depend on a title. He stammered. The captain, he's suspended, pending permanent license review. Pending? She asked, voice sharp. Review it now. He endangered passengers and violated federal ethics. File immediate revocation. The manager nodded, shaking. Yes, ma'am, immediately. Someone yelled, she just fired him on the spot. Cheers erupted again. Phones filmed from every angle. The terminal transformed into a courtroom of witnesses. Harris checked her watch. You'll issue refunds to every passenger delayed by his misconduct. And he'll cover it from his severance. The manager froze. His severance? There won't be one, she replied. Laughter broke through the tension. The child tugged her sleeve. Mommy, are we still going to fly? She crouched, brushing his curls aside. Yes, sweetheart, just not on this plane. Why? Because it's not safe when truth's been ignored. Overhead, the PA system chimed. Attention, Flight 298 has been officially grounded. Passengers will be rebooked. Thank you for your patience. The pilot's final shout echoed faintly down the hall, desperate, broken. You can't ruin me! Harris turned slightly, voice low but firm. You did that yourself. Cameras caught every second. The badge flash, the calm authority, the quiet triumph. In that moment, justice wasn't loud. It was precise, surgical, absolute. She gathered her suitcase and nodded at the stunned staff. Let's clean this airspace. And with that, the woman everyone underestimated became the one name no pilot would ever forget. The next morning, the story was everywhere. Every news anchor said her name with reverence. Every thumbnail showed the pilot's red face beside the words, Flight 298, grounded by FAA director. But inside the airport conference room, the real turbulence began. A long mahogany table divided the airline's executives. Laptops open, voices raised. This is a disaster, one barked. That clip hit 20 million overnight. Another hissed. She caught us flat-footed. She's digging deeper. We've had prior complaints about him, haven't we? Silence answered. Harris sat at the far end, calm, watching them squirm. You didn't lose control yesterday, she said evenly. You gave it away. The CEO swallowed. Dr. Harris, with all due respect, it was one rogue pilot. She cut him off. Rogue pilots don't thrive without blind managers. A folder slid across the table. Inside, emails, dated months earlier, passenger complaints labeled minor incidents. Her nails tapped once on each page. These were warnings. You ignored them. The room fell silent except for the hum of the projector showing screenshots of tweets, clips, and comments flooding the internet. She turned toward the compliance officer. You knew, didn't you? He stammered. We tried to handle it internally, by burying it. Her tone didn't rise. It didn't have to. Internal silence is external rot. A journalist's notification pinged on someone's phone. Breaking. Leaked memo shows airline covered repeated bias cases. All heads turned toward the glowing screen. The CEO exhaled. That leak came from here. She met his eyes. No, it came from Truth. Truth doesn't wait for permission anymore. The PR director whispered. We can issue an apology. Harris stood. Apologies don't fix systems. Audits do. She reached for her folder. Every airline under our regulation will undergo mandatory conduct evaluation. Every crew will attend equality compliance. Every complaint will go public record. The CEO leaned forward, desperate. Dr. Harris, this could cost millions. She met his stare coldly. Racism already did. The boardroom door opened. A staffer handed her a phone. It's the secretary's office, she answered, voice steady. Yes, I've initiated federal review of all commercial carriers. Pause. No, sir. This isn't retaliation. It's correction. When she hung up, half the room was silent, half typing frantic messages. The compliance officer muttered, They're saying you're making this political. She adjusted her jacket. Justice isn't political. It's overdue. A faint buzz filled the room, hundreds of notifications from phones lighting up. On screens, the viral clip looped again. The shove, the smirk, the badge reveal. Fly-right trended worldwide. Outside, reporters crowded the hallway. Flashbulbs popped as the door opened. One journalist shouted, Dr. Harris, is this a one-time incident or a national reform? She paused in the doorway, gaze unwavering. It's both. Then she walked past the microphones, not as a victim of discrimination, but as the force dismantling it. The hangar was empty, echoing with the hum of distant turbines. The pilot sat on a folding chair, stripped of uniform and pride. His badge lay on the metal table, edges scuffed where he'd clenched it too tightly. The door creaked open. Dr. Harris stepped inside, heels sharp against concrete. No cameras this time, no crowd. Just justice in silence. He didn't look up. You here to gloat? She walked past him, stopping at the table. No, I don't gloat. I verify. He laughed weakly. They said you're revoking my license. You can't do that without a hearing. She placed a folder down. You had your hearing. Every time you opened your mouth at that gate. He finally raised his eyes. You ruined me. She tilted her head slightly. You ruined yourself the moment you thought rank meant superiority. He pushed back his chair, anger flaring. I earned that uniform. Her gaze didn't move. Then why did you fail your ethics exam twice? The color drained from his face. How How do you know that? I signed your evaluation. His jaw dropped. That was you? Yes. You were warned then that arrogance and bias don't belong in the cockpit. She leaned closer. Seems the sky had to remind you. He stood abruptly, pacing. I made one mistake. One? She opened the folder, reading aloud. Incident 117. Passenger complaint ignored. Incident 242. Verbal altercation dismissed. Incident 389. Filed, sealed by management. And then? Flight 298? She closed the file softly. That's not one mistake. That's a pattern. He slammed his fist on the table. You think grounding me fixes racism? No, she said calmly. But it stops it from flying. For a moment, only the hum of engines filled the space. He slumped into the chair again, the fight draining out of him. What happens now? He muttered. An inquiry. Training reforms. And you... career termination, pending psychological evaluation. He laughed bitterly. So that's it. I lose everything. She straightened. You lost everything the day you stopped seeing people as equals. He looked up, voice low. You enjoyed this, didn't you? Her expression didn't change. Do I look like someone who enjoyed it? He shook his head slowly. No, you look tired. I am, she said. Tired of fixing what men like you keep breaking. He swallowed hard, eyes glistening. Do you ever forgive? She turned to leave. I forgive the ignorant. You weren't ignorant. You were trained. Her hand paused on the door handle. He whispered, You grounded me, but maybe I deserved it. She looked back once, voice almost kind. The truth always lands eventually. The door shut behind her, the echo sealing his fate. The badge on the table caught the light one last time, then dimmed. The video hit 10 million views before sunrise. Hashtags flooded every feed. Grounded for justice, Dr. Harris, SOC's first-class truth. Clips replayed the moment the pilot shoved the suitcase, the stunned silence, and the final line. You might regret that before takeoff. It became a rally cry. News anchors dissected every frame. Commentators argued about reverse discrimination until Dr. Harris's credentials surfaced online. PhD in aviation safety, former Air Force instructor, now head of compliance for the entire airline. The public gasped. The narrative flipped overnight. Airline headquarters lit up with reporters. Executives huddled in damage control meetings. Stock prices dipped, then rebounded when the CEO released a statement. Effective immediately, Captain Reynolds has been permanently dismissed. Our flight decks will reflect the diversity of our passengers. The clip ended with a standing ovation from employees behind him. Meanwhile, at a small diner near the airport, Dr. Harris sat with her son. He scrolled through his phone, wide-eyed. Mom, we're trending in 40 countries, she smirked faintly. That's not the goal, he grinned. Then what is? She sipped her coffee, making sure the next kid doesn't have to record to be believed. At another table, 2 flight attendants watched the same video. One whispered, She didn't just ground him. She grounded the system. The other nodded, and she did it in heels. Outside, a protest formed spontaneously. Pilots, crew, passengers, activists. Placards waved, Respect takes flight. No room for racism at 30,000 feet. Someone blasted the video from a Bluetooth speaker. The crowd cheered at the line. It stops it from flying. By nightfall, airlines worldwide began reviewing policies. Diversity training schedules tripled. Former victims of in-flight discrimination shared their own stories under the hashtag #OneSheGroundedThePlane. The next week, a late-night host played the clip during his monologue. Turns out karma flies business class, he joked. The audience roared. But somewhere quiet, in a modest home, Dr. Harris packed her briefcase. Another day, another meeting with regulators. Her son peeked in. You're still going? She smiled softly. Justice doesn't trend forever. You've got to keep it flying. He hugged her tight. You're a hero, Mom. She shook her head. No, baby. I'm just a passenger who refused to move. The screen faded to footage of the plane still parked on the runway from that day. Its engines off, gate empty, sky perfectly still. The viral captions rolled across it. Some flights don't take off because the truth has to land first. Millions watched that ending again and again. Comments poured in. She didn't just win. She rewrote the rulebook. That pilot lost his wings. But humanity gained its conscience. This is why phones matter. And somewhere between outrage and redemption, a story about one mother and her child changed how the world boarded planes forever.